a script, but let me zoom out a bit. So we have moved on from, we were speaking a few years ago about experiential economy, subscription-led economy, pay for premium, get the data, personalized experiences. More increasingly, that was the era when CX analytics in my domain was hot as well, right? Designing user journeys, right? Now we move to more intelligence workflows. AI is the talk of the town. And we move from experience to more intelligence-led economy. So as the economy has evolved, so has financial institutions. And increasingly, we cannot differentiate simply on digital, which is essentially having your apps and the website and cross-channel digital experiences or phygital experiences. We have to differentiate increasingly on intelligence. Intelligence, not surprisingly, hinges on data. And with the context of DPDP, whether it's minimization or maximization of data, that's questionable now, right? Intelligence hinges on data, and the experience can be delivered with technology, and both have to go hand in hand together because end of the day, like somebody said, we are all in the game of business, right? Every company is now a tech company. And because I represent data, so I would say eventually a data company for any AI. So with that context, I'm zooming in a bit. The discussion is focusing mostly on core powering banks on AI, cloud, and data. But I think the elite panelists bring in diverse perspective from global banks and Dr. Anuradha, right, from cooperative banks in India and native perspective in Mr. Patil. And obviously from a CIO in a perspective and an Indian bank in IDBI, and a vendor and an engagement perspective in Hardik, right? I'll try to see where I can chime in from a mutual fund perspective as well. So let's get started. We will talk about how the core system should evolve with AI. We'll talk about AI operationalized responsibility. We'll talk about resilience building in interconnected systems. And finally, we'll also talk about talent. Don't get us wrong, we are still far behind in terms of upskilling at a large scale. India is the talent powerhouse, so scarcity here means scarcity for the world, right? So we have to be pretty much ready for that as well. So let's get started. The first theme is shift from digital channels to digital core. My question to you, sir, Mr. Om Prakash, many institutions have digitized the channels, but not necessarily transformed, right, the core. What has been the toughest challenge in modernization journey in your company and what you've seen across the sector, right? And how do we do so while maintaining business continuity?
Thank you so much. Good morning to all of you. So basically, as you said rightly, that we have seen a rapid evolvement into digital channels. It has become earlier APIs, now AI, agentic AI, which is basically requires a very, very rapid and fast response from the core as well. Only digitizing or modernizing the channel itself doesn't help because channel is just a delivery channels, right? What is important is that the backend, which is my core, that is also aligned to respond into the splits of seconds. So the challenge over here is that traditionally, the core systems, basically the real-time application, real-time transaction processing, there's got two parts. One part is the real-time transaction processing, and second part is the batch. Traditionally, core has been a kind of monolith where the real-time transaction processing and the backend, that is, we call it the batch, whatever, has been very, very tightly coupled. We have not been able to decouple these two. So what happens that daytime while we are processing the real time, the batch and whatever the compute that keeps on waiting. I mean to say the system is not rightly fit which can cater to both of them. Normally we have the same infrastructure which caters to the daytime, real-time transactions coming from channels, branches and all that. At the same time, same infrastructure and same kind of performance, compute and everything is put to the batch workload. So the challenge which we have over here is that, and how it can be done, that we need to decouple the core, the real-time transaction processing, which is closely integrated with your channels, that need to be go on to the modernized stack like microservices, serverless compute, and very, very fast and responsive. Whereas the batch, that can be a large vertical which can do the batch in the faster. Second thing is also is that the batch, instead of doing into the concentrated night hours, it could be done during the entire day. We don't need to accumulate everything and do there. We need to keep on doing during the course of the day, so that the batch time from 4 hours, it can be reduced to 2 hours or 1 hour, so that the customers, the system is available to the customer like a 24/7 clock. So we have found that now the ISVs who provide the core banking or core systems, now they have realized, and somewhere they are decoupling, calling it as the hollowing the core. That means taking out some of the functionalities outside of the core, doing it at the very, very fast, and then asynchronously pushing it to the core. So those tech transformations are taking place now in order to address the speed response challenges which is posed by the digital channels. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Om, from bringing in how the operationalization of the core modernization is happening. I'll extend these questions to Mr. Patil as well, right? And maybe you can bring in the urban cooperative bank perspective on, and then also being a CEO, right? You can bring in the business perspective of how you're seeing this evolution really happening.
See, basically, I'm here to represent the urban cooperative banking sector. And I don't know how many of the people sitting over here are aware of this sector. In India, there are 1,457 urban cooperative banks. And they are being categorized by RBI in 4 segments, that is Tier 1 to Tier 4. Out of this, the main portion, or say many of these urban cooperative banking sector, almost you can say 58% of urban cooperative banks are there who are having 100 deposit of less than 100 crores. So they are very small in size. And now a phase has come where we have to compete with all the public sector banks and private sector banks also. And with the introduction of small finance bank, the competition is very tough nowadays. But considering the cost involved in implementation of digitalization or introducing in the digital product, it is becoming more and more challenging for the urban cooperative banks. Basically, you can say that there are multiple challenges when it comes to implementation of digital products. The one thing is the profitability of these urban cooperative banks. And the second is regulatory aspects. Reserve Bank of India has mandated that any bank who wish to have a mobile banking license, they should have a net worth of 50 crores. And earlier, till November 2025, it was 25 crores, and still banks were finding it difficult. And then suddenly, the regulator felt that this limit is quite low. Let's make it double. And they doubled it. So with the introduction of this new law, what happened is that the banks have been left with no choice but to do and to go with the traditional banking ways. So that is from regulatory perspective. Another thing is the cost involved in implementation of digital channels. Here actually many exhibitors are also present here, and the exhibitors or the companies, I wish to appeal that there is a huge market when it comes to the cooperative banking sector. And these banks, cooperative banks, they don't have the expertise like public sector or private sector banks. So they need a wholehearted handholding from the vendors. And if any vendor gets connected with any of the cooperative bank, then he'll be there forever. So in a lighter mood, we always say that cooperative banks believes in marriage system, not in live-in relations. So there is an opportunity for the companies to join hands and guide the cooperative banks. Also, the major challenge is skilled resource persons, because as I said that these 58% banks are located in rural areas, and the person who is supposed to be the IT in charge, they don't want to go to these places like a small town having 10,000 or 15,000 of population. The IT persons always prefer the metro cities. So in that case also, there is a huge challenge for the cooperative banks. The banks are working on it, but they need some fintech companies to join hands and guide them properly so that these banks can grow. I have worked with Union Ministry of Cooperation, and our Union Minister of Cooperation, Mr. Amit Shah, he has a vision and he has a dream that the urban cooperative banking sector should grow, and the total entire banking system, the contribution of urban cooperative banks should be at least 10%. So that is his vision and dream, but for that we also need support from fintech companies also.
Thanks, Mr. Patil, and I think you very candidly and in a broadened way, taught us a lot about the cooperative bank. And as I see through you, there is a huge opportunity that is there, right? Not just probably for fintech in general, but also other spectrums of, including wealth management, right? As I can see through. Okay, now coming to the next agenda from to around AI data and decisioning. My question is for Dr. Anuradha. As AI adoption accelerates, ma'am, like how do large financial institutions like yours and the MNCs, innovate on governance, compliance, and more importantly, how do we measure the ROI? Where is the ROI?
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. I think it's quite a shift from what Sir mentioned from urban cooperative, where we are trying to still find the roots on how to have the banking for them, and here we talk about AI. I think we'll surely, sir, shake hands together to see how we can take AI to urban cooperative banks. Yeah, being a global player in the market, I think very important. I think AI is taking a lot of folds, and I think all the foreign banks are also working towards it. But taking a step back, because I'm too much of a data and an analytics person, so before we adapt to AI, I go to day -1, where I see whether I actually need an AI to be implemented for this solution, or I can go for a simple automation. Because AI, I think, as I adapt to AI, there will be a lot of burning of resources, environment, everything comes into picture. But we have a lot of use cases where we are trying to strengthen the productivity, maybe for the frontliners, as we say, the number of emails that flow in, sir, are too many. So how do you segregate, and the response time is quick, as we spoke about the client experience. I think somebody said, if AI can answer a few queries of my clients will be good. So we are building a production support system for our frontliners where AI will help them which mails to be answered first, and rest can be an auto-generated email response that can go. Yes, second part I'll pick it up is how we guide our people, our teams, not to think that AI is going to take away the jobs. AI is there to support you, to increase your productivity and not to take away your jobs. I think if we go back few years quickly, we thought Excel is going to take away jobs of people who were using calculators. but I think Excel supported, and we all, I think, cannot survive without it till today. So it's going to support you to grow further. Now, the last important perspective that will touch is return on investment. So that's the reason we say we start from day -1 rather than going from day 0. And I think the chase of AI is very good, how we can leverage it. Now, the return on investment is not on how I can reduce a person's job and give it to an X or Y person. It is how quick I can deliver and support the person to deliver more, or he can take more on his plate to deliver more or increase the productivity. Optimization is the key, sir, that we are looking towards through AI.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradha, and I really like the point of D-1, because from a first principle thinking, we may also start rethinking the process itself from ground zero, right? It's not that you have to automate what is already there. You can redesign and reimagine as well. So those options are pretty much available. Okay, now I'm coming to Mr. Hardik, right? And he brings, so we all talked about the captive and the product perspective. I think, Hardik, I would like you to bring in your services and delivery perspective as an outsider and a collaborator. How are AI-powered operational workflows, changing incident management? I bring that point because you partner closely with Atlassian.
Yes.
Risk visibility, operational efficiency in the financial services today. So you can bring in those perspectives, please. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I think what Dr. Anuradha mentioned, first people should know when to use AI and when to use automation. Nowadays, for every product, you will see AI with the credit limit. So initially, that might be unlimited prompts you can run, but now it comes with very less limit. So I have seen people, they are confused between automation and AI. I totally agree with her. So talking about incident, I believe AI should be your digital teammate. It should not be outside of workflow. So AI it's not just a chatbot, but it should support your existing workflow. It should understand what is your life cycle, and you should not have to modify the workflow cycle just because of you want to enter the AI in that, right? So if I talk about incident, AI should be smart enough to predict what are the past incident happened for these services, and what are the other affected services because of this incident. And now, previously, incident was just used to take for the creation purpose, assignment, and resolution. But now, we work with the multiple tools. So if there is a one incident, there is a chance it is affecting a multiple product, not just one product. Right? Similar way, if I talk about risk, AI should be smart enough to predict the risk. Like if you are submitting change log, for example, in real time, we all submit change log with low impact and never happened, so that it is approved by the CAP team, to be honest. But so when you are putting the implementation plan, test plan, everything, it should actually give the, okay, is it happened in past? Is it really low impact or a high impact? So that there is a risk matrix that has to be highlighted by AI. So yeah, I think AI is going to be backbone for the ITSM. We followed the ITL best practices. We started with ITL version 3, 4. Now there is, I think, 5 is launched. So I think AI is also going to be crucial part of that.
Noted. I think the ticketing is obviously an area where, it is making leaps and bounds. Your companies, Atlassians and even ServiceNows of the world are making a breakthrough. Those are the obvious areas to, reduce cost.
Yes.
Okay, now coming to the next phase, which is around customer experience trust and hyper-personalization. This connects with the data that we talked about in the previous flow. Again, to you, ma'am, Dr. Anuradha, hyper-personalization requires real-time data, right? Now, AI models and seamless omni-channel orchestration is also need of the day, right? What are the biggest architectural and data challenges banks of your scale face, which are MNC and multi-location? If you can bring in that perspective.
Yeah, thank you. I think hyper-personalization is, as we were listening to Sir before, we said we want everything to happen with the blink of our eye, but it is always good to have something which is delayed by maybe 10 minutes, and we have a lot of authentications which go towards it. Also, Sumnesh sir pressed upon on hyper-personalization is maybe for tier 3 or tier 4 or tier 5 banks, where we talk about if there is a circular or if there is an application which is launched or maybe a banking scenario, if you're able to translate it in their own language, I think it is something which is very, very important. I think we were also talking to a few of our clients outside on hyper-personalization is the bots who can take your sentiments when you're talking to clients and tell whether your conversation is going right or wrong. So I think all of us are working towards it, but most important with DPDPA Act coming into picture is your consent manager. So hyper-personalization will be there, but I think consent will be most important factor to go ahead. And we being global banks becomes very, very important for us is with data localizations that no data should move outside the country or the geographical boundaries of India. So we are focusing on a lot of hyper-personalization use cases where maybe we can have a persona built and we can offer, if all of us are sitting maybe with my credentials or with my investment plans, they can say that like Netflix tells you, right? The X person watched ABC movies and maybe with your profile you can also watch the other movies. But can I have that without a consent of the client? The answer is no. Hyper-personalization will be important, sir, but we have to also focus on what the client wants with the data which is existing. And with AI coming into picture, I think first and foremost important is how we structure our data so that it can give us the right sense and no hallucinations, which is something very, very important to cater to.
Noted. And I wish I could bring in the mutual fund perspective as well. Trust and trust, right? Personalization comes later. And I think it was very aptly touched by the keynote speakers as well. But I'll rush through. I wish there was more representation from mutual fund, but I'll rush through the cloud and cybersecurity. Again to Sir, Mr. Om, what does digital resilience truly mean today beyond cybersecurity, according to you?
Thank you. The digital resiliency absolutely mean that first thing is that the digital immunity, that means it's very robust, unbreakable. But in case if it really gets broken itself, it has ability to bounce back within stipulated time so that the customers or stakeholders, they don't feel any kind of gap. That's the whole thing out over. So, so basically it is basically on two things. First thing is that our digital immunity with respect to their implementation, the high availability, the microservices, and all those things should be in place. But more important is that if some part, some component becomes rogue or it is attacked by the cyber, then ability to detect and quarantine and then create a new asset similar should be in such a way that the gap is not there. Similarly, I'm just giving you a chronology. It's basically right now you have a manual gear, manual transmission car. You are in gear 1 and then you change to gear 2. There is some power gap you feel. But if you go to the automated and might be dual clutch kind of thing, wherein the gear shifts automatically, you don't notice also. Yeah. So similar to the digital resiliency means that even there is some incident, it is handled in such a way by autonomous orchestration that the customer should not feel any kind of thing actually. That's how state of affairs should be. So that's how the digital resiliency means. Of course the system is rugged and robust, but still it can be attacked. But the moment it is attacked, it is remediated within a split second in such a way that the effect is not percolated or known to anybody. So I would like to just see some sci-fi movie when I used to see. There is some, satellite, and that's very highly sophisticated. So there's some component, the satellite says that some component has gone rogue. It's the immediate notification, but it is just an information. The autonomous action automatically moves you to the different workload, and parallelly it fixes the rogue component also. So that the impact is not known. The similar autonomous system we need to have in the digital also, where if there is some kind of the deprecation is felt, that component is immediately isolated, the workload moves to the different kind of the asset or system compute in a seamless manner, and the rogue gets also, corrected and added to the workload.
Noted. Very well put. So conscious bounces back fast, segregates bad from good component, and the customers, large scale customers, are oblivious to what just happened. Right? Makes sense. Moving to Hardik now.
Just to add to that,
Yeah,
so
please go ahead.
yeah, recently we know there was a conflict in the Middle East area.
Yeah.
So one of our customer, their AWS data center was hit. Okay, and unfortunately, their DR site was also within the same region.
Okay, that's
So,
unfortunate.
so what he said is truly right. Like if your DR, everything component is, there is no failover, it is going to be a big impact on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want, DR is a necessity. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm actually the next question was for you and the same themes, right? So the theme is interconnected world, operational workflows, right? How does service management evolve to resilience at scale, right? And
Yeah.
that's the question.
Yeah, so I'll take the example of incident again. Like, so there is an incident. Now, if incident is repeating multiple times, that's when it becomes problem. So traditional ITSM, they will just focusing, incident is assigned and it's resolved. But with the AI and the modern ITSM, you should be able to predict if incident is happening multiple times, it is going to be a problem, and within no time it can impact large scale impact. Right? So I would say like previously service management was used to call as a service desk, but now it's a backbone for the BFSI for the all the team. And not only that, now ITSM connects multiple teams, your development team, your operation team, and customer support team together. So previously that was something, every team was working in silos.
Good to know, because for the customer, the entire company is one, right? So anyway, now I'm moving to the most important part. Actually, I'm skipping one of the theme for benefit of time, because this is more important, I believe, than open banking and API-led ecosystem that we wanted to talk about. This is about leadership, culture, and future readiness, right? Which I believe will be very pivotal to the actual transformation on ground, because the world is moving very fast ahead of us, right, as we speak, right? So the question is to all three of you, actually, as you represent three very different sectors. Let's start with Dr. Anuradha. I can speak the question back again, but you get the flow, right? So are we transformation ready in an India-centric manner? And how the global banks, making different geographies, AI ready? But the question is more India-centric, right? If you can bring in more value.
I think transformation and change is the only thing which is inevitable and only constant that we have. So yes, India specific, what we do being a global bank, right? So we have some use cases or some implementation that happens globally. So we take the lesson learned from there and then see how we can bring it with our regulatory guidelines and bring it to country and see how it can be, transformed rather than taking it from the scratch, because there are also a lot of different work happening in different parts of the world. So it's always good to have a lesson learned so that we don't fail that quick. So failure is something, a good, I think, learning stepping stone for everyone. We do that. And the second most important thing, I think, that everybody, whether it's an Indian or a foreign bank, is how you're transforming your leadership and also your people. The mindset change that learning is never going to stop. You have to always learn. As we speak, I think somewhere a new model must be getting launched for us to go back and see how AI can transform. And I think more is with the reference to the tier 3, tier 4, or the rural areas where we need to change that mindset that with learning, they can also be part of all other banks that we are working towards. I think transformation is important and learning is most important.
Thank you, Dr. Anuradha. And the point is like, and I'm not talking about the advanced models, I'm just talking about Copilot, right? You roll it out to your organization. I'm not talking about a spectrum of companies, I should not name them, but let's say Wells Fargo to even our companies here, right, in India. The adoptions are not to the scale that we want them to be, right? So that is the reality.
So simple use case that we have in the companies, every year end you have that performance that you need to write, performance review. So we have a AI agent there where you give it 4 or 5 pointers there. We want to talk about governance, compliance, or productivity. It frames a very nice, you say frame like 100 words for you, it very nicely frames it. So it's how it increases productivity and make people happy. And also people leader who can give the comment on that.
Absolutely. Well, I broke the Heisenberg principle by being in 2 meetings at the same time because I have a co-pilot here in my company. The other meeting is recorded. I don't physically need to be there. And I'm telling to my boss, I'm worth the salary that I'm getting. Any which way, on a serious note, getting back to Mr. Patil, right? And you did touch base on that, and it is very challenging for you. Believe me, it is equally challenging for mutual fund, as our CEO also keeps putting up, right? How do you get trained professional to sell a mutual fund in a tier 3, tier 4? And when there are 40 mutual fund companies, how do you do that, right? In a fragmented market space, right? So it's quite challenging for every one of us, and particularly to you, right? So the question is more so on organization capabilities, but also on skill development, and how are you tackling that problem, sir?
Basically, for skill development, even RBI is taking much efforts. In last week only, Governor has launched one program called Saksham, that is for capacity building of the banking sector. And from Federation also, we are organizing various programs, training programs, and moreover, like practically, instead of theoretical programs, so that in reality the capacity can be built. And the more focus we are emphasizing on the leadership, because the flow has to come from the leadership, that there is a need of technological adoption, and also along with this technology adoption, it should be noted seriously that the risk is also associated with this. So how to tackle that risk? That plan has to be also ready with you when you are adopting the technology. So all these things should come from the leader itself. So we are trying our level best to train the leadership as well as the resource persons also.
Thank you, Patil. Mr. Om, you want to add to that?
So basically, in order to bank to sustain and growth, the foundational pillar is the AI, cloud, and data. All three are critically important, but they all come with the risk. AI comes with the trust deficit. That means the customer will not believe that what AI is saying is right. It might be biased. Cloud comes with the cybersecurity risk, data breach and all we are always seeing. And the data comes with the risk of the kind of stale, not the real time, and the data quality, and the DP, and all those kind of constraints. So we need to be navigate through a lot of caution and a lot of due diligence. But of course, we don't have any other way. This is the way to go. So that's why as the market evolves, we will have the remediations and the partners who will provide the kind of protection measures against the adversity what we will face, and then move ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I think I'm just summarizing the whole discussion through, right, in a way, right? So we are short on talent, right? We want to be AI ready in the financial space, right? Digital alone will not help us differentiate, as we have to reach the scale, and again connected to the talent problem of having a sales rep at the last mile, right? So I think, and obviously the risk Mr. Rom talked about, a lot of good work that is happening in areas where AI can definitely play a role, like Hardik talked about in service management. So we are reaping benefits, but with low adoption in the business, I think business cross-cultural training, etc., is also due, and the adoption seeps in, so does the productivity. I wish you were my friend and you were not ringing the bell, but thank you. So we'll wrap it up. Thanks for your time. You have been a lovely audience. Yeah.